Hey guys, it's Charlie. It's March 24th, Wednesday. This video is titled, What Else Do You Need to See? I wanted to answer a few comments I had about people, I think, misunderstanding what I mean by tyranny of the majority. And also, a few people were actually upset because I had talked negatively on the healthcare legislation. I had been called a few Nazi, racist, that kind of thing, but and then they promptly unsubscribed. So in case there's anybody else out there who feels the same way, let me just warn you now, if you're expecting me to ever get behind this healthcare and thinking that it's good for the country and that it's good for the people of this country, then you're wasting your time watching this channel, because I will never applaud slavery in any form. And if you can describe slavery better than me forcing you to buy something you do not want in order to be a citizen, in order just to have the right to be an American, you have to buy it. That is slavery. You don't want to spend your money on it, but you have to. And if you don't do it, you're going to have an IRS agent knocking on your door and making you do it. I will never support that piece of legislation. Never. In a million years. It is 100% unconstitutional, and it goes against everything that our forefathers came to this land for. So if you're upset by my stand on healthcare, I apologize. You're entitled to your opinion, but I certainly am entitled to mine. And if you're for this, frankly, you're just wrong. Secondly, I wanted to talk about tyranny of the majority. A lot of you, not a lot, I had maybe a half a dozen comments saying that, the majority party won, that's how this country has always operated, and get over it. Okay, first of all, when I say tyranny of the majority, I am referring to the basic God-given rights that you have as an American citizen. Rights that cannot be granted to you by the federal government, the state government, or anybody else, because you're endowed by your creator with those rights. That is what is written in our founding documents. The tyranny of the majority comes into play when a simple majority, or even a vast majority, can impose their tyrannical rule on you by a majority vote. In other words, my right to bear arms cannot be infringed upon by the majority. If there's 100 people standing there and 99 of them vote that we should not have the right to bear arms, they still lose. I will not succumb to the tyranny of the majority. So it has nothing to do with Democrat, Republican, or the powers that be at a certain time, as if Wall Street isn't controlling both sides of them anyway. But it has nothing to do with a party in power. It has everything to do with my natural-born common law rights. These are mine. You cannot take them away with a minority or majority by any legislation, because it doesn't come from government. It comes from your creator. It's in the Constitution. That's what I support. It's not a slam on Democrats or Republicans. It's a slam on both, because they both equally infringe upon your common law rights. All right, that brings me to the next thing I read tonight, which was a headline in Blacklisted News. And this headline is, Economic Stimulus Bill May Give J.P. Morgan a Tax Refund of $1.4 billion. I read this and I physically started shaking, because I'm sitting here trying to contemplate all that's gone on in the last week and all the pomp and circumstance that's going on over the demise of my country. We are going to be forced to pay for something we don't want. It's going to be taken directly out of our accounts if we won't submit to this tyranny. The IRS just hired 16,500, or will soon hire, to enforce these laws. You are under the thumb of the Internal Revenue Service to have health care. And if you don't get it, you're going to face the full federal government. They're going to enforce this law upon you. But that's okay. J.P. Morgan's getting a $1.4 billion tax credit. How are they doing this? In the stimulus package, one of the recent mini legislation was passed that these companies could go back up to 5 years rather than 2 to claim losses 5+ years or up to 5 years old. So JP Morgan is taking losses from Washington Mutual that they received on some kind of back alley shady deal that you and I will never get to know about, even though it's our money. And it's presented to JP Morgan by the Federal Reserve. You and I are responsible for this. The debt will be thrust onto your back. We don't get to know how the deals are cut, though. But since they took on Washington Mutual, now they can take on some of their losses and get a credit for prior losses, up to $1.4 billion. Well, the American people are told that we're going to do something for the good of the collective and tax us just to be a citizen in this nation. We're going to give JP Morgan $1.4 billion in tax break. And oh, did I mention, JP Morgan, 39 million people in this nation are on food stamps. They cut a fat profit on that. 70% of the debit cards issued are issued by who? Bailed out firm JP Morgan. The message on the board is self-explanatory. What else do you need to see to realize tyranny is upon you? Our nation, our republic is lost. Wake up, America. That's all I got.